Hello and welcome from a breezy Colombo. As you can see, there's a heavy breeze that's blowing across the stadium. This is the ground where India and Pakistan are going to be playing, and in this particular video I'm going to tell you what the Pakistani captain has said. Lots of talking points which I'll touch upon ahead of that India game. But before that, let me also quickly show you the skies, and what you can see right now are dark grey clouds there. Can you see those grey clouds? And the breeze that I was talking to you about, it is looking like it might rain. Rain is predicted for today and it's predicted for tomorrow as well. I'll keep updating you on the weather, but as I said, right now dark clouds are building. Pakistan is here practicing at the moment. If the rain does come, it can disrupt their practice session. But I think the more worrying bit is that Indian team are practicing later. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. India is supposed to practice from 6 to 9. I just hope the rain doesn't come around at that time, because India haven't had a practice session so far in Colombo. They haven't come to Premadasa. Pakistan have been here in Colombo for more than a week. They've already played 2 grounds. They played in a different ground. They played in SSC, which is about 20 minutes away from here, half an hour away from here. But they've still had one full-fledged practice session, and today also half their practice session is already done. So in terms of being in Colombo, in terms of practicing at the SSC, had a full session yesterday and a session today. I just hope the rain doesn't come later in the day when India are scheduled to be practiced, because what you would want the Indian team at least to have one practice session, and because the practice session here is going to be in the middle of the ground, so center pitches you can use to practice, so you get an idea of the ground, which strip is going to be used. You can have a closer look at that, decide the team, also get used to the surface, because you'll be practicing on the strips next to the playing surface, which are going to be similar to the playing surface. So all those information India needs. So I'm just keeping fingers crossed that the rain doesn't come towards the time when India are practicing. Pakistan are practicing at the moment. But this video, as I said, is going to be about few things that Pakistan captain Salman Agha spoke about. The first bit and the most of that press conference was focused on Usman Tariq, the spinner. I saw him bowl yesterday in the practice session. After I do this live, I'll go and see him again in the nets. My views on him, I've already done a separate video. You can check that out as well. I saw him being just any other bowler, wasn't troubling too many Pakistani batters in the net. But you know how India play him is a different equation. What strategy they would like to employ against him, we'll have to wait and watch. But I think 2 things that I've concluded from Usman Tariq, what I've seen: one, he's more of in Hindi as we call the tappa bowler, right? He likes to hit one length and continues to bowl like that. He's had some success with Western teams, but I believe most Western batters don't like to use their feet. So he's done well with them. If Indian batters use their feet, I think it'll be an easy way to tackle him. Secondly, if you look at his record, he's not ever taken wickets because he's had that zip in the bowling or has bowled some unplayable deliveries. That's never been the case. More often than not, he's picked up wickets primarily because there has been a situation where batters have tried to be aggressive against him. So every time they've been a bit aggressive against him, they've ended up picking some wickets. So if that was to be the case, that's the only way that he's taken wickets in the past. Maybe he does that today. Many are saying that just play him out. If you take single doubles, it's done, and attack the rest of the bowlers. I believe that he can be attacked too. If you use your feet, you can do that. That's anyway my opinion, and I'll give you a more detailed, comprehensive video on Usman Tariq. But just focusing on what Salman Agha said. Firstly, he was asked this question that so much has been spoken about him. People are saying that he can be the trump card. All the eyes are on him. What do you have to say? So he said, I don't know. I have not hyped him up. My team hasn't hyped him up. You guys in the media are hyping him up from both sides, from Pakistan, India. You guys are hyping him up. For me, he is just like any other player. I have 15 players, including me. And just as we look at all 15 players, we'll look at him as well. Suddenly I see this hype for him that has come predominantly from the media. So we've not done it. Yes, he's got a different sort of an action. Maybe he can be the trump card if you'd like. He can be a trump card. He said it towards the end. But his core point was, it's not us who've hyped him up, you guys have hyped him up. And to that extent, I agree with him. And I've been saying this in my video previously as well, that more than the Pakistan team talking about it, or even former cricketers talking about it, it's the media that's really hyped him up because of his unusual action. So that's what he spoke about, Usman, and said that, for us, he's like any other player. Maybe he'll be a trump card. Who knows? That was his take on Usman Tahir and the hype around him. But now to his action. Some interesting comments by Salman, and he said that, see, he's been tested by ICC twice and he's been cleared. So he said, I don't know what the fuss is all about. In fact, if you ask me, I think his action is pretty clean. I've said that in the previous videos I've done. I don't see any issues with that. Yes, he's got a bit of a pause. You've had many bowlers in the past as well with a similar pause. So I see no issue. And the good thing is that, the Indian team hasn't also spoken about it. And he talks about those ICC tests. Though I have a different opinion on the ICC test. A lot of time when you do those tests, the kind of performance that you have, or your arm being bent, is very different when you're being tested vis-a-vis when it's a match situation. And then that, I think you should leave it on the better sense of the umpires that are on the field. They can take a call. But yeah, coming back to what Salman said, I think he said he's been tested twice. I see nothing wrong with his action. I don't know why people keep talking about it. And as far as Usman Tariq is concerned, he said, I don't think this talk will put him under pressure. Because ever since he started playing, there have been talks around his action. So this is something he's used to. It's nothing alien to him. It's nothing new to him. So he's used to it. So for a player that gets used to certain talks around him, then he goes and performs just in the manner that he always does. So he's of the opinion that no matter what the situation, he doesn't see, or he doesn't care about people talking about his action. He'll just go out and play the way he wants to. The other big thing that Salman spoke about, he said that, we have a slight advantage. He said that being in Sri Lanka, and something that I mentioned at the start, he said being in Sri Lanka has helped us acclimatize to the conditions and has helped us know the pitches also slightly better. And because they played 2 matches here, I know they're different stadiums, but he said because we played it, he said hopefully that will help us. But he had a rider with that. He said no matter what you acclimatize with, no matter how much you know the conditions, he said at the end of the day, you have to execute your plans for 40 overs. If you don't, you'll end up losing. If you don't play good, you'll end up losing. So he said it's not about conditions. He said, I hope we can take some advantage of acclimatizing and knowing the pitches. But at the end of the day, we are aware these things are not going to help us win. We have to play good cricket. We are up against a very good team. So if you don't play good cricket, if you don't execute our plans, there's no way they're winning. So that's the other thing that he spoke about, the condition. I know a lot of you are sending your comments, and the maximum interest that I see is around the handshake thing. 2 things I'm going to mention about the handshake just to apprise you of the latest happenings. Firstly, Salman Ali Agha's opinion. He said, what do you make of handshake? He said, see, if you ask my personal opinion, I think handshake should happen. This is something that has happened since cricket started. This is something that has happened in age group cricket and continues to happen. So something that's been happening for so many years should continue. He said that's my personal opinion, but added that my personal opinion doesn't count for anything. At the end of the day, it's a decision. He said it's up to India. India need to decide what is it that they want to do. So I'm not going to talk much about what will happen. I'm just giving you my personal opinion that handshake should happen. Then towards the end, he was asked if the Indian team agrees to a handshake, will you do a handshake? He said that we'll wait and watch and you'll get the answer tomorrow. So he was not ready to commit, but he gave you an insight that he and his team are very keen to do a handshake, just as they were keen in Asia Cup. Indian team refused. Now to the other bit, and this is a bit of information that I'm giving you. Some people in the know of things are telling me that there is a likelihood there will be a handshake come tomorrow. I don't know whether this was agreed on in that meeting that happened between PCB, BCB and ICC, whether some sort of an assurance was given, but there was nobody from BCCI at that time, only ICC was being represented. So I don't know whether ICC can guarantee that, but I think the arrangement maybe that, that was an Asia Cup, maybe the Indian team decided not to do it. Even now it's not part of the rules, it's just a courtesy. But I am picking up that there is a good chance that handshake might happen come match day versus India Pakistan. This is my information. Again, I'm not confirming it. I don't know if it is going to happen 100% or not. And again, from now to the game to start, there is plenty of time. A lot of times decisions are taken, just hours before the game. If you remember Asia Cup as well, there were a few handshakes that happened on the captain's meet and press conference at that time, but come match day India refused to shake hands, so things can still change. But I'm giving you the information that I have right now. I believe that there is going to be a handshake, and I think both teams have been made aware of that, and I believe that both teams are on the same page, and you might see the customary handshake happen during the India-Pakistan game. That's the information I have. But as I said, don't hold me to it. Don't put a gun on my head if it doesn't happen right now. That seems to be the likelihood, and that is something that Salman Agha also mentioned. On the game, I'll just tell you that, I thought Salman Agha was very balanced in his views. A lot of questions were very leading questions. From Indian journalists also very leading questions to put pressure on him. From Pakistani journalists also leading questions to, get him to say something outrageous, to say something against India. But I must say that he maintained a very level head. He didn't get carried away. He didn't fall for the trap that was being set by journalists and, give a very bombastic sort of a statement. He was very measured with his word, very careful. And that tells me that, going into the hype that is around in India, Pakistan, so much is there, he's still maintaining a level head. But of course, this is just a very minor aspect of the game. And the fact that he kept saying, no matter what we talk, no matter what you say about pressure, his action, anything, he said about the record also, he said, we don't have a great record and I can't erase history. History is what it is. I have to accept that India has done very well compared to us in World Cups, and that's nothing that I can do about it. But only thing we can do is we go on to the match and execute our plans and try and play best cricket that we can. So in that way, I'll give him credit that he was very balanced. Okay, I'm going to take a few questions. I've got M Zone saying, will rain make a spoil sport of tomorrow's game? At the moment, M Zone rain is predicted, but what I've noticed in the prediction that there's only scattered showers. So even if the rain comes, and towards the evening rain is less, so maybe rain might happen during the daytime, or worst case start gets delayed, but I think once the game starts you will get a full game. That's my opinion on the rain, because I've been speaking to locals. I checked the local weather report as well. That's what it's saying. Jimmy Jaiswal says, Nikhil sir, Usman Tariq is not going to win Pakistan any ICC trophy and single-handedly tournament. It's only media hype. Jimmy, that's exactly what I've been saying. Again, I'm not underestimating Usman. He may be a good bowler. Maybe he goes on to have a good future. Who are we to judge? But whatever little I've seen of him, and I've seen him live in practice, and of course, we've seen him on television as well. Whatever I've seen of him, I don't see him as a spinner that's caught my eye. That's, sometimes there are spinners, you see them bowl and you say, wow, this guy can cause a lot of trouble. Varun Chakravarti, you see him in the nets, catches your eye. Kuldeep Yadav on occasion bowls up amazing delivery in the net and you're like, oh my God, what was that? So that sort of a feeling I've not had. And he doesn't have too many performances to show that. So again, I am in agreement with you for now. But again, you can't be taking any bowler lightly. I would like India to be prepared against him. Always go prepared. Abhishek is saying, Nikhil sir, talk about how the pitch is going to play, and I feel handshake will happen, and Salman looks very calm character in pieces. Doesn't say any way controversial. Abhishek, I agree with you. He seems very calm, very measured, very sensible in his approach. As I said, you were not there in the press conference. I was there. The kind of questions that were being asked of him, it's very easy to get carried away and come up with a line that will create a headline and a controversy. But he was not falling into that trap. Very balanced. As far as the pitch is concerned, see, this has been not a very high scoring ground so far. The 3 games that you've had, 160 163, 169 in 2 games. 1 game went to 180. But I think 180, 190 is a very good total in this pitch, if you ask me. Batting first is also being advantages here. So I think batting first, getting that sort of a total is good news. That's what teams need to focus on. SSC, you got a 200 plus total today. I think SSC is still slightly better pitch. But you know what that tells me? And Pakistan have played their 2 games there. If India would have played in SSC, they would have gone past 200 in one of the games. I'm 100% sure. Pakistan could not. So what that tells me that in terms of firepower, this Indian batting lineup is carrying, even now in terms of form. Firepower we all know, but in terms of form also, I think India is coming up with a much more explosive batting lineup. A batting lineup that can still, on whatever be the pitch, can get you an above par total. Anshu is talking about Feb 16 being bigger than Feb 15th. Yes, because of that Sri Lanka-Australia game. I was talking to one of the tuk-tuk drivers. You know, autos are called tuk-tuk here. He was saying exactly that. Fortin says Nikhil, Naseem and Fakar playing in place of Usman, keeper, and Fahim is more danger. Then Tariq, it's a good point that you're making. I think Fakar Zaman is always, I think that he has that ability. He's a bit inconsistent, I agree, but he has that ability to explode. Maybe they might want to get him in, but then that, from Pakistan's point of view, will be also panic stations. Why would you want to panic and make too many changes? The team that they're playing has done reasonably well. I think one change they could look at, maybe take a Nawaz out and get that wicket keeper in that a lot of people are talking about. He's an explosive batter, so maybe that is something that they can look to do. Vikesh Jodha wants to know the weather. My request is just go back and check the entire video. I've been live for 15 minutes. At the start I've given the weather update. Amey is saying, Nikhil sir, both Kuldeep and Washi in the 11 or either one of them, your opinion? I wouldn't play both. My honest opinion, I said that yesterday. If you want to play Washi, you get Washi for a Rinku and go ahead with that. That's not my choice. I know a lot of people are talking about it. My choice, I'm okay with India playing the same team. With Arshdeep there, no Kuldeep, I'm okay. But I'm also okay with Kuldeep coming in, considering he's got a good record. Versus Pakistan comes in, then he comes in place of an Arshdeep. That also I'm fine. Then you keep a Rinku. But I don't think Washi and Kuldeep I'd like to see. And I'm giving an example. I think this pitch, so much is being spoken about spinners. But see the last game, that Zimbabwe-Australia, it were actually the fast bowlers who did well. Muzrabani did well. Evans did well for Australia. I think Nathan Ellis did well. So it's not... See, the pitch is a bit on the slower side. So what happens if you use a lot of cutters? So if you've got a fast bowler who can use good cutters, change the pace, variations, I think that's the key, not necessarily spin. So and I think Indian fast bowlers do that very well. I saw Shivam Dube use the slower ball very well. Hardik can do that pretty well. Bumrah has a lethal slower delivery and can use lots of cutters, mix it up with his fast ball. Arshdeep on occasions, mixes up his pace. So I'm also okay with those fast bowlers. I don't think that should be an issue. Questions are moving very fast. Jimmy is saying 12 overs of Varun, Jasprit, Kuldeep, nightmare. I agree. That's why if Kuldeep plays for Arshdeep, not an issue. They can do that. England, Scotland people are talking about. Yep. So yeah, that's the latest update here that I have for you. For those of you who joined the video late, I know a lot of you joined late, the Conquer and Went high. Check out the initial part of my video. I've given some more details about the weather. That's then I've got Vic Nick Show. Somebody is saying, yeah, I'll try and do that. Vikesh says thanks Vikesh for joining in. Kashif Aslam is sending love. Thanks, love back to you as well. Ranjib is saying Rinku looks listless in the middle, a big concern. Nick, what say? Ranjib, I agree. If you see my match report after the Namibia game, I think that was one of the concerns that I'd flagged for India, because he's been inconsistent for some time now. I think that is a genuine concern. I agree with you. But I still, because he brings a different, feature to the team. And you need someone who can be explosive. I know he's not been consistent, but I'd still keep him. I mean, that's my opinion. So between Arshdeep, Kuldeep, you play one and keep a Rinku. On a given day, on a low-scoring pitch, supposing you have a collapse, and if it happens to be his day, you need some sort of explosiveness towards the end. You can't always rely on Hardik to do that. Even when, Shivam Dube does that, he needs to come in a bit earlier to do that. Just those last few overs, very different skill. I'd still want to stick with him. So I take your leave. Thank you for joining. I'm going to head for Pakistan practice, and I'll give you the latest update from there. Take care. Bye bye.
6 to 7 है आज तक का शो. You and me